injuries, so I'm just gonna take that as a blessing that I haven't had many, and just go from there and go forward. My biggest thing with the neck injury is that I wasn't feeling strength. My arm wasn't working. From the nerves being impinged. My strength is back, and that's what I've been kind of gauging on, and I feel great. I've been able to train 100%, and that's huge. And with every day of training gets more mental confidence, and so I feel great, and I feel ready to just have a full hard training camp ahead of me.
Opponent-wise, are you excited that it's Raquel Pennington, the same girl you were initially slated to face and likely had been already underway for? Yeah,
absolutely. I was hoping that we could still have that fight. I know it wasn't fair to her that she was training for December 6th, and for her to not have a fight. So I'm glad that she was able to fight that night, and I'm really glad that she's able to take this fight again so soon. February 28th, and so I'm very glad that we got to keep the same fight. I hope she is too.
Did you watch her last fight, and what did you think of her performance?
Yeah, I was here. I thought she did well. I felt like the fight was kind of a battle. They were back and forth with things, and one thing that I've noticed about her, she's very comfortable. She doesn't let anything get to her too much. She doesn't really break down too much, mentally. She found herself in a couple of spots and got out of them, and waited for that right opening. So she's definitely somebody not to get too comfortable with or too lazy with.
Can you also talk about, the time that you have a fight and then it gets taken off and then it comes back? Is there any benefit whatsoever with the time between?
I feel like if it would have just been regular time off, maybe, but, this whole time off was just rehabbing. That's all I focused on every day, was just getting healthy. So for me, I wish it could have been December 6th and not had this time. Especially since my last fight was in April. I feel like it's been forever. So if I had it my way, I would have fought, December 6th.
Everybody's saying that you are the one that's gonna beat Ronda, and you are starting you're gonna have your first fight. Do you feel like pressure because of all the hype on you?
There's a lot of pressure, but I feel like I just want to embrace it and take it. If nobody was talking about me, that means maybe they didn't expect or think I was going to do anything great, and so I'll take it as a compliment and go with it. It is a lot of pressure. I haven't even had my first fight in the UFC. For me, I feel like I have a lot to prove, and so I don't really like to talk so much about, the championship fight right now, because Raquel Pennington's first. If I don't do well with that, then what? It's going to be, what was all this talk about? What's the big hype about? This is just, it's silly. So I want to just take this fight and not look past it, because every fighter is a threat, and Raquel Pennington is in front of me first.
But how do you see Ronda's game though?
I think she's great. She's ran through everybody and made it look easy. Not even just in battles. She's made it look very easy. So is it tough to beat her? Absolutely. I think everybody's tried to bring their best game. But on the flip side, everybody is beatable. Everybody's human and everybody's beatable. So I think the biggest thing for me, if I think about a fight that big, you have to walk in there believing in yourself. This is how I've always felt from the very beginning of my career. If you don't feel like you can do it, then you shouldn't even be in there, because you've already lost mentally. Don't expect to win the fight if you get in there thinking, well, can I really? You have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, because nobody can fight for you, you're the only person in there. And I think that's a huge part of the game. Everybody knows in fighting, mental is a huge part, and so, which is the hardest part. The hardest part for sure.
What do you think about the fight with Ronda and Kat, and how do you see that going?
I think that Ronda's got, a lot going for her. She's got momentum. She's got, her mental edge right now has to be so high. She feels so unbeatable, and that is very scary in a fighter. I feel like when they believe in themselves and they've been able to actually act upon, every challenge that's come and conquer everything, I feel like she's got to be really hard to beat. But Kat Zingano has been around the game a long time. You can't count her out. I don't think she's going to get in there, like a deer in the headlights. Then again, you never know what's going to happen. But I feel like she's going to come with a fight, and I really can't put a prediction on it. But I'm just excited to watch it, I'll tell you that.
Do you have that type of confidence that you say Ronda has?
I feel I want to always have that confidence, but I also want to be humble and know that I even put myself in a spot. If I'm behind, I need to dig deep. I need to, push through. But I do feel like I'm worth something, and I'm there for a reason, and because I will not let myself think any differently. Do I think that it's going to be hard? Do I think it's going to be a challenge with any fight, not just Ronda? Yes, every single fight has. I mean, you can have all the conditioning in the world, but if you have no skill, it's going to be a little hard. You can kind of push, but if you run into somebody's technical game, you can have all the technique in the world, but if you're not conditioned, you might gas out. If you have both of those but no mental game, you're still missing something. I feel like you need a balance of everything in this sport, and so I feel I try my best to keep a balance.
What is it like for you to field all these questions, getting the comparisons to Ronda before you've even made your debut?
I'll just take it as a compliment. I feel like it's a lot, but you know, and maybe it's just I've been fighting for a long time professionally, and I haven't been in the UFC, and I know, you know, all the best girls are going to be here, and all the challenges are going to be here, but I just love to fight anyway, and I want a challenge. I feel like if you fight someone you're just supposed to beat all the time, my dad and I always say it's not as much of a sweet victory. You know, the biggest fights and the biggest challenges and the most you know, nerve-wracking a fight might be, those are the best wins out there, you know, so I guess it kind of just comes with it, you know. I like having the pressure. It's nerve-wracking, but I like it. It makes me want to succeed and push forward and perform and do all the things that everybody has this faith in me to do, you know. I don't want to be a letdown, so it carries a lot of weight, and it is. It's you know, it's a lot to take, but I like it. I'd rather be on this end of it than nobody caring and nobody even, you know, wanting to watch me fight, so.
How is this pressure different from, say, your boxing career? You know, when you're, you know, obviously a big star in Albuquerque. How is it different? Or the same, maybe?
In boxing, I've had to face a lot of big challenges, and I always say, you know, going into my first boxing fight, that was my first pro fight. I only had kickboxing amateur fights, so it kind of was one of those things, well, we have a fight for you, but it's going to be pro and it's only boxing. I kind of had to believe in myself that I could just get in there and box and be okay with it. So there's, you know, and then getting into it, I had 12 fights, and they put me up with Christy Martin, who had 50. Been on the undercover of, you know, undercard of Mike Tyson on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and that was huge for me. I thought I mean, the odds were crazy that I was going to lose, and I got in there, and it wasn't even my hardest fight. Physically, mentally leading up, it definitely was, and I've had a pretty hardcore knockout from one of the French girls, and she hadn't lost in 17 years, and I think 21 of her 24 wins were full-on knockouts. I had to come off of getting knocked out by her and having that kind of a record on her side and still believe in myself that I could still get in there and do it, and so I have had to face a lot of things, and I think that is going to help me in MMA, just knowing, you know, that I have the confidence in myself to push through, whether it's, you know, kind of a lot to take on or not, but it is still a new sport, and I feel like it's on a fast track, so it's a lot to take on, and there's a lot of different things that I need to learn with this, so I just try and take it as it comes.
Do you believe in the Octagon jitters? Everybody talks about that when they get under the bright lights. It's much bigger than anything else. So how do you prepare for something like that?
You know, I feel great having a good team around me and a good support system around me, coaches and teammates that have been in the Octagon and in this sport, and really when you get in there, and this is my hope, you never know what's going to happen, but I hope I just get in there and, you know, it's just another girl across the cage, whether it's here or in somebody's backyard, and I want to win just the same. I'm not saying there's not going to be jitters, but my plan is to just be able to fight through them.
Was obviously a long negotiation with UFC. Can you tell us a little bit or share about the goals and expectations from both sides?
You know, at the time that the negotiations started, I was training for my fight, so I didn't really want to think too much about it because I didn't want to lose focus on the girl at hand, especially with all this, you know, negotiation hype. I thought, well, if I don't win this fight, I mean, that's really going to mess things up. So all I did was train, and I let everybody else kind of talk for me, and I'm very fortunate to have great people around me. And then obviously I had time off because that's the, you know, fight that I broke my arm, so I felt for me maybe I didn't feel this like pressure and this rush because I had to kind of heal, and let time had to kind of be there. I couldn't go in and start punching things right away, so I was okay with the negotiations kind of going back and forth because I really didn't have to do it and I wasn't really in a rush to get a fight, so I kind of just sat back and just kind of let it fall into place.
On the bantamweight division, there's it's full of a beautiful woman. Are you expecting to explore that side of you too, as well?
If it's something that will come with it, I think it's great. I never. I would love to get involved with any opportunity that comes this way. My goal is to always be passionate about fighting first. When I first started fighting, I told my dad, my family, my coach, as I said, I will fight for passion only, and everything else should fall in place. I don't ever want to fight for money, fame, or just, you know, to be a part of something because people like to watch it. I want to do it for passion first, and that's actually how I found myself in MMA. I kind of lost my passion for boxing. I loved that I had the career I had, and I will never change anything for the world. I'm so excited about this, you know, new path, and whatever comes with it, I want to take whatever opportunity.
Predictions for tonight?
Well, I'm going for Jones. I think he's going to do it.
What about a co-main event?
I think Cowboy. I'm sticking by my teammates solid all day.
Predictions for Super Bowl? Any team you like?
We're going to go with the Broncos.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. How are you doing?